I stood behind the glass curtain wall of the office lobby. The scene outside, the ceaseless flow of traffic, my wife being held and kissed by another man stabbed my eyes. I recognized his tall frame instantly. It was the childhood friend she grew up with. Her white moonlight, as I'd heard people say. The idealized love from her past. "Hey, Yulin, we shouldn't see each other anymore," he said as he released her, but she reached out, wrapping her arms around him unmurmuring. "No, I only just found you again." I gripped my phone tighter. The screen displayed the message I'd sent just minutes ago. "Honey, done with work, let's have a nice dinner tonight." All these years, I thought I knew her better than anyone, only now did I realize I'd never truly known her at all. My phone vibrated. "Hurt. Extra, darling. I have an important client meeting today, might be late. You head home first." I stared at the message and suddenly laughed. 5 years of marriage. And for the first time, it hit me with chilling clarity. Every word she spoke could be a lie. Outside, the man finally pulled away and left me. Eileen stood there for a long moment, wiping her tears and composing herself before turning back towards the building. I stepped back behind some potted plants from the corner, watching her walk past in her high heels. The smile on her face was so familiar, the one I had adored for years. For right now it just made me feel sick. It was already 9 p.m. when I got home. She dragged herself in, looking exhausted, while I sat on the sofa pretending to watch TV. "Honey, I'm sorry. Today was just so busy," she said, walking over to give me a hug. I instinctively flinched the way she froze, a flicker of panic in her eyes. "What's wrong?" "Nothing. Just suddenly don't feel like being touched," I said flatly. "What's that supposed to mean?" Her voice trembled slightly. I turned to look at her. "Who did you see today?" Just a client," she stammered. "Really?" I stood up, towering over her. "And was the client's kiss good?" Her face turned deathly pale. She stumbled back 2 steps and collapsed onto the sofa. "Honey, don't." I cut her off coldly. "Do you even deserve to be called back?" Tears streamed down her cheeks. Seeing her like this used to soften my heart. But now all I felt was irony. "Junwei, please let me explain," she sobbed. "Kai and I are just old classmates. We ran into each other by chance today. He's going abroad soon. He just wanted to see me one last time. And then you just spontaneously kissed?" I asked sarcastically. "Mei-Lin, do you really think I'm that easy to fool?" Pulling out my phone, I opened my notes app. "Last month on the 15th, you said you were working late. You were actually having dinner with him at the Gmail Hotel on the 23rd. You claimed it was a girls' night out, but you were really with him at an art exhibition earlier this month. You took 2 days off, saying you were visiting your parents back home, but you went to Suja with him." She stared at me stunned. "You investigated me? What else?" I sneered. "Did you think I was an idiot? Did you really believe I wouldn't notice how strange you've been acting lately?" "I'm sorry." She buried her face in her hands. "I really know I was wrong. Kai is leaving the country soon. This was just our goodbye. I'll never see him again. Please, can you forgive me?" I watched her cry. Her face streaked with tears, but felt nothing. "Mei-Lin, do you think at the end of it, I'll do anything for your forgiveness?" She clutched my legs. "Honey, punish me however you want." I just lost my head for a moment. I pushed her away. "Do you know what I hate most? Betrayal." She shuddered. "Ever since I was a child, I've despised betrayal above all else. That's why I give everything I have to my friends, to the person I love without reservation, because I expect the same loyalty in return. I know you've always been the best of me." She choked out between sobs. "In you." I crouched down, looking directly into her eyes. "All these years of my devotion, did they mean so little to you?" She shook her head frantically. "No, that's not it. I'm grateful for how good you've been to me. Grateful? I laughed suddenly. What do you take me for? You're a benefactor. Standing up, I walked to the study, pulled open a drawer, and took out a stack of papers. These are the divorce papers. See if there's anything you want to change. She looked as if she'd been struck by lightning. No, honey. You can't do this. A house goes to you. I'll take the car. We split the joint assets evenly, I stated calmly. I don't tell you anything and you don't need to feel guilty. Let's just leave it at that. I don't want a divorce. She lunged forward, wrapping her arms around my waist. Honey, please give me one more chance. I swear I'll never see Guy again. I'll make it up to you. I forcefully pried her hands off me. You know, your reaction today. It's deeply disappointing. She froze. If you had just admitted your relationship with Kai, admitted you still loved him, I might actually respect you more, I sneered. But you, the moment you're caught, you start playing the victim, begging for forgiveness. Did you think it would make me go soft? No, she mumbled. I truly regret it. Regret what? Regret getting caught. She had no answer. Maylin, you know my personality there. No turning back from this. I tossed the divorce papers in front of her. Sign them when you've thought it through. With that I turned, went upstairs, and shut myself in the study. I could hear her crying outside the door, but I tuned it out. Taking out my phone, I sent a message to my cover. The meeting for me tomorrow. I might need to take a couple of days off. Leaning back in the chair, I closed my eyes, but images from 5 years ago flooded my mind. The Maylin back then. Such a pure, wonderful girl 5 summers ago. I met Maylin for the first time. It was a typical blind date, honestly. I didn't have high hopes for blind dates at 30. My career was taking off. And I never lacked female attention, but I couldn't escape my parents. Nagging about finding someone suitable and settling down, Maylin was introduced by a colleague from our company's legal department. He said she was his cousin, a recent grad student working at a foreign company, the Daily Mail. She wore a light blue dress. It was a simple style, but it made her look refreshingly elegant. We talked the entire afternoon at a coffee shop about work, life, hobbies, dreams. She wasn't pretentious, just refreshingly honest. She'd blush sometimes, but never tried to act overly cute or younger than she was when I got home that day. I told my parents, she's the one. My folks were both surprised and delighted. Already? So soon? Yeah, I just felt we clicked, I said with a smile, and it was true. Being with Maylin felt comfortable. Easy. She had a gentle grace about her, but also the independence of a modern woman. She wasn't cringy, but she always showed care when it mattered most. Most importantly, she was understanding. She knew I was busy with work and never made unreasonable demands or threw tantrums. 6 months later, we registered our marriage. The wedding wasn't extravagant, but it was respectable and properly done. She looked absolutely beautiful in her wedding dress. From the crowd, I saw Guy, her childhood friend, was there too. He came with his girlfriend and gave us a pair of very expensive cups as a gift. I even joked at the time, wow, you two must be really close. Maylin laughed and said, yeah, we grew up together. He is like a brother to me. Who could have imagined that this brother would end up becoming her lover? Married life was pretty typical for a young couple. Daily routines, 9-to-5 jobs, managing household basics. I remained busy with work and she had her own career ambitions. But we loved each other very much. Every morning she'd make me breakfast, often just simple sandwiches, but they made me feel the warmth of home. On weekends, we'd go grocery shopping together. She'd push the cart while I picked up the items. Sometimes we'd playfully argue over a bag of chips or a carton of milk. Back then, it was truly wonderful. Last year, I was promoted to vice president at my company. Work got even busier with frequent business trips. But I never forgot to surprise her. When I was away on trips, I'd have my assistant arrange flowers to be sent to her office. Hearing she was stressed lately, I specifically took time off to take her on vacation to Sonia. She was lounging on a beach chair. Honey, you're so good to me. I ruffled her hair. Silly, of course I am. You're my wife. Back then, I truly believed life would go on like this forever until 2 months ago, when she started to change. It started with small things. She was always spacing out while looking at her phone, and her moods became unstable when I asked what was wrong. She'd just say it was work stress. I didn't think much of it, knowing how driven and independent she'd always been. That gradually, I realized something was wrong. She started working late frequently, often not coming home until late at night. Sometimes I'd call her and she'd say she was at the office, but the background noise clearly sounded like a restaurant or a mall. I tried probing gently a few times, but she always brushed it off vaguely. Then one day, I found a WeChat message on her phone. It was from Kai, Miss Hugh. In that instant, my heart went cold. But I didn't confront her. Instead, I secretly hired someone to investigate soon. A detailed report landed on my desk. It turned out Kai had returned from abroad 6 months ago to start his own business. Over these past 6 months, he and Mei Lin had been meeting frequently. It started with supposedly chance encounters to catch up, then escalated to something ambiguous. They had meals together, went to movies, and even took a short trip to Suju together. Every photo, every record, felt like a knife twisting in my gut. How I wished it was all just a misunderstanding, but what I saw with my own eyes today has completely shattered that illusion. 3 in the morning and I still couldn't sleep outside the study. Mei Lin's crying had stopped long ago. I didn't know if she'd left. Pushing the door open, I found her curled up on the floor by the entrance. Hearing the noise, she immediately looked up. "Honey, get up," I said. "The floor's cold." She scrambled to her feet, wanting to come closer. I took a step back. "We need to talk in the living room." She sat meekly on the sofa. Her eyes were red and swollen from crying, her makeup ruined before. Seeing her like this, my heart would have ached and I would have wiped her tears. And now, all I wanted was to get this over with quickly. "Are you really sure about the divorce?" she asked quietly. I nodded. "It's the best option." "What?" Her voice rose in panic. "Can't we start over?" "Start over?" I scoffed. "Do you really think that's possible?" "I know I was wrong. I really do." She grabbed my hand. "Please, just give me one more chance. I swear I'll never see Kai again." I shook her hand off. "Do you think this is just about whether you see him or not?" She froze. "Mei Lin, search your heart. Can you honestly say you don't love Kai?" She bit her lips, silent. "You know, I actually found out about you two a long time ago," I said calmly. "But I kept waiting for you to tell me the truth yourself. I know he's the one you could never forget. Her first love," I continued. "You grew up together, childhood sweethearts. But back then, when he had a girlfriend, you chose to marry me. I thought you had truly accepted me." She lowered her head. "I was sincere." "Were you?" I said, my voice dripping with sarcasm. "Then why couldn't you control yourself the moment he came back?" "I don't know either." She sobbed. I just couldn't help myself." "So, you admit it. You still love him?" She fell silent. Her silence was more damning than any answer could have been. "Fine. Let me ask you one more question." I stared straight into her eyes. "If I hadn't found out today, what were you planning to do?" She shook her head frantically. I don't know. Let me guess," I said coldly. "Were you planning to wait until he was settled abroad, then go join him?" Her body gave a noticeable tremble. "Junwei, it wasn't like that," she explained hastily. "I just wasn't thinking straight. It was a moment of weakness." I said. "He might be gone for a very long time this trip, so you just couldn't resist giving him a farewell kiss?" I sneered. How touchy. Don't say that. She covered her face, anguished. I really know I was wrong. Too late. I stood up. I'll have my lawyer send over the detailed agreement tomorrow. Look it over. If there are no problems, sign it. Dunway, she grabbed the corner of my shirt. Please, I'm begging you. Give me one more chance. Ray's still young. We can start over. I turned around, looking down at her. Maylin, do you know what your biggest mistake was? It wasn't cheating. She looked at me confused. It was thinking I would ever forgive you. With that said, she turned and went upstairs behind me. I heard her broken sobs, but I didn't look back. Sleep was impossible that night lying in bed. I replayed the fragments of our years together. It turned out our marriage had been a mistake from the very beginning. When she married me, her heart belonged to someone else and I was just his substitute. Thinking of this, I suddenly laughed. Maylin, you thought I'd forgive you. Didn't you? You thought I was easy to fool. Well then, let's really play this out. Pulling out my phone, I sent a message to my assistant. Look into Kai's company for me. Get the details. This show was just beginning. The next morning, I got a call from my mother. Junwei, did you and Maylin have a fight? I paused for a second. She called you? Yes. Crying her eyes out, barely able to catch her breath. My mother sighed. What exactly happened? I gave a cold laugh. She didn't tell you why. Just that you want to divorce her? My mother sounded anxious. Junwei, can't you to talk things through? Maylin is such a good girl. Good? I cut her off. Mom, did you know she's cheating on me? Silence hung on the other end of the line, and with her childhood sweetheart I added, well, still thinks she's so good. Hey. My mother was clearly taken aback. Are you serious? Is it true? I saw it with my own eyes. But you still can't just divorce her over this, my mother persisted. Young people, they make mistakes sometimes. Mar. My voice was firm. This isn't negotiable. Silence again on the line. Fine. My mother finally sighed. It's your decision. After hanging up, I checked the time. 900. Time for work. Pushing open the study door, I found Maylin was still outside. She was slumped against the wall, looking like she hadn't slept all night. When she saw me, she scrambled to her feet. Honey, don't be so familiar, I said coolly. We're past that. Her eyes welled up again. Do you have to be so final about this? What choice do I have? I shot back. Am I supposed to just forgive you like a fool? Watch the two of you put on a show right under my nose? No, we won't, she pleaded. Kai is really leaving the country. We won't see each other again. And, I scoffed, just because he's leaving, you decide to come back and play the good wife? Am I just your backup plan? I wasn't. Her voice trailed off. Enough, you should get to work, I said, stepping around her and heading for the door. I'll have my lawyer expedite the divorce proceedings. Junwei, she cried out behind me. Aren't you really going to give me one more chance? I stopped but didn't turn around. What do you think? Silence fell behind me. I knew she must be crying again, but this time my heart wouldn't soften. I understood those weren't tears of regret. They were tears for losing Kai. I got to the office and went about my workday as usual. Around noon, my assistant sent over a detailed file on Kai. Turns out after coming back home, the guy started a tech company. Funded by a few partners, their main focus is AI medical devices. Sounds promising. On the surface, in reality though, Cap products haven't made any significant breakthroughs and they're currently looking for a new round of funding. Interesting. A smirk played on my lips. I messaged my assistant back. Arrange a meeting. My assistant quickly set it up. 300 that afternoon in the office conference room. I wanted to see for myself just what was so damn special about the man my wife couldn't get out of her head at 3 o'clock sharp. Kai arrived right on time. He was even more handsome than his photo suggested. No wonder Mei Lin was completely smitten. Mr. Junwei, I've heard so much about you. He extended his hand, his smile perfectly polite. I shook it. Mr. Hi. You're too kind, please have a seat. He sat down opposite me and took a file out of his bag. Forgive my intrusion today, but I primarily want to chat with you, Mr. Junwei, about our company's latest started project. All right, I leaned back in my chair. I'm quite interested myself. He launched into an enthusiastic spiel about his company's products, mostly AI medical devices. They certainly sounded flashy, but I knew their technology was far from mature. So, Ray event, Mr. Junwei. How does the project look to you? He finished, looking at me expectantly. I smiled faintly. Oh, it sounds promising. His eyes lit up. Then is Mr. Junwei interested in investing? Oh, and investment is definitely on the cards, I said slowly. However, do you think this valuation is appropriate, Mr. Card? I looked straight at him. After all, your products haven't truly been validated by the market yet. He became a little anxious. You can rest assured about that, Mr. Junwei. We already reached cooperative agreements in principle with several major hospitals. Is that so? I cut him off. Ray NHA Hospital? He froze. How did you know? I cold smirk touched my lips. Because the director of Ray NHA Hospital is my brother-in-law. His expression shifted. So I know very well that you haven't secured any deal with him at all, I continued. You didn't even pass the prototype testing stage. Beads of sweat started forming on his forehead. Well, Mr. Kai, business requires integrity, I said meaningfully. If you can't even manage that, then it's very difficult to continue this conversation. You're right, Mr. Junwei. He lowered his head. That was thoughtless of me. No matter, I waved a hand dismissively. I still think highly of your company's potential. How about this? Go back, prepare a more detailed proposal, and we'll talk again next week. He looked visibly relieved. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Junwei. As I walked into the door, I added casually, by the way, Mr. Kai, are you planning on going to Bradfield? His back clearly stiffened. Yes. I have plans too. Well, I wish you a safe journey. I patted his shoulder. But before you leave the country, it might be best to handle everything that needs handling. After all, letting certain things drag on for too long isn't good for anyone. He turned back to look at me, a flicker of panic in his eyes. Mr. Junwei, what do you mean by that exactly? Exactly what I said. I smiled. Take care, Mr. Kai. Watching his hurried, almost panicked departure, the corner of my mouth lifted slightly. This man. So polished on the outside, yet so fragile underneath. I pulled out my phone. A text from an unknown number had arrived. Video sent to your email. Opening my email, I found a surveillance video clip. It showed the entire scene of Kai and Mei Lin kissing passionately on the street yesterday. I'd had someone retrieve all the surveillance footage from that area in the video. Their expressions and actions were crystal clear, saving the video. I replied to the number. Wait. When I got home that evening, I found someone was actually there. She had changed her clothes and was busy in the kitchen. Hearing the door open, she hurried out. You're back. I glanced at her and headed straight upstairs. Wait, she caught up, grabbing my arm. I made your favorite dishes. Can we eat together? No need. I didn't turn around. I have plans with friends. You're lying, she insisted, tightening her grip. You don't have any plans today. I called your assistant to ask. Huh. You're quite good at finding things out. I shook her hand off. Then why don't you find out where your Kai was today? Her face paled. What? What do you mean? Nothing much, I shrugged. Just reminding you that your man came to see me today to talk business. He came to see you? She asked, surprised. Yeah, looking for investment. I looked at her with a half smile. What? Didn't he tell you? She looked down. We're not in contact anymore. Oh, cut ties so quickly? I said sarcastically. Weren't you kissing him like you couldn't bear it apart just yesterday? Stop it. Tears welled up in her eyes again. I really know I was wrong, all right? Cut the sob story, I said impatiently. If you really feel guilty, then hurry up and sign the divorce papers. No, she threw herself at me, hugging me tightly. Husband, please give me another chance, okay? I really love you. I can't live without you. I looked down at her. Are you sure? Do you love me, or do you love the life I can give you? She froze. Maylin, think carefully. I said word by word. Do you love me, the person, or the life I can give you? Her mouth opened, but no words came out. You're a smart woman, I continued. You know Kai is in a difficult situation right now, so you got scared, you. Are I afraid you won't have a stable life with him? So you want to come back to me? It's not like that, she sobbed. Whether it is or not, you know the truth in your heart. I pushed her away. Go pack your things and move out. I'll stay in a hotel for the next few days. You can stay in the house until the divorce is finalized. With that, I turned and went downstairs behind me. Her crying voice followed. Junwei, do you really have to be so heartless? I paused at the bottom of the stairs but didn't turn back. Heartless? When you betrayed me? Did you think about being heartless then? She fell silent. Look after yourself. I walked out without a backward glance. Once I reached the hotel, I called my assistant. Is all the information on Kai's company ready? It's all here, the assistant replied. They really are short on cash lately. I heard several potential investors have pulled out. Could arrange a meeting for tomorrow with the other shareholders in his company. Understood. The assistant hesitated. Mr. Junwei, are you planning to just do as I say? I interrupted. Oh, and have the legal department prepare the contracts. Hanging up, I lay back on the bed and lit a cigarette. Kai, you need money, don't you? Well, I'll give you a hand. Let me show you what true despair feels like. I spent the next week living in a hotel. My days were filled with work as usual, and my evenings were blowing off steam at the gym when I pushed myself to exhaustion. I could almost forget my trouble for a while. Milan texted me every day. I ignored every single message. She called regularly too, but I never picked up. One day after work, my assistant hurried over. Mr. Junwei, there's been some movement on the Kai situation. So on. Their company's largest shareholder has agreed to negotiate with us. My assistant handed me a file regarding the share transfer. I glanced at it. When's the meeting? 10 tomorrow morning. Good. I nodded. Have the legal team ready. I worked this done cleanly. The meeting the next day went smoothly. Kai, as company shareholders, understood clearly that their current predicament required new investments. I was undoubtedly the best choice. The only one who objected was Kai himself. But his shares were a few. He was powerless to change anything. Mr. Junwei, we've considered this agreement very carefully, the majority shareholder said. As long as you acquire the shares at this price, we'll hand over control to you. I smiled. Good. Then it's settled. Tai sat in the corner, his face ashen after the contract was signed. He stormed up to me. Mr. Junwei, what the hell are you playing at? I countered. Investing, of course. What is it? Mr. Kai? Please, you. He grit his teeth. Do you know something? Know what? I chuckled. Sir Kai wouldn't happen to have a guilty conscience, would he? He was speechless. Relax. I have no interest in your private life. I patted his shoulder. I'm just interested in your company's technology. Work hard. Don't disappoint me. With that, I turned and left. He yelled after me, Jun Wei, don't take this too far. Without looking back, I retorted, too far. Perhaps you should think carefully about who really went too far. Back in my office, my assistant asked, Mr. Jun Wei, what's the next step? What else? I sneered. Time for a cleanup, of course, but their technology really is quite good, so I cut them off. We just let them keep running it into the ground. My assistant fell silent. Arrange for an audit to start tomorrow, I ordered. I want to see exactly what good deeds they've been up to all these years. Returning to the hotel that evening, I found Mei Lin waiting at my door. What are you doing here? I frowned. I asked the hotel for your room number, she said, looking pitiful. I need to talk to you. There's nothing to talk about. Please, just give me 10 minutes. She grabbed my sleeve. I glanced at my watch. 5 minutes. She let out a breath of relief. Okay. Inside the room, she got straight to the point. Why did you acquire Kai's company? I scoffed. What did he tell you? Called me. She lowered her head. He said you did it on purpose. Yes, I did do it on purpose. I sat down on the sofa. What did you expect? I just stand by and watch you two billing and cooing right in front of me? No, she said urgently. Hey, really cut off contact with him. Can't you just let him go? Let him go. I sneered again. Hey, Lin, you really do care about him, don't you? She froze. Look at yourself right now, I said mockingly. You came here supposedly to beg me, but every other word out of your mouth is defending him. Do you really think that's gonna soften me up? That's not it. She bit her lip. I just don't want you to do the wrong thing because of me. Me do the wrong thing? I stood up, towering over her. And what about you too? Was what you did right? She couldn't answer. All right, your 5 minutes are up. I pointed to the door. Please leave. Jun Wei, she tried to say more. Get out, I roared, startled. She stumbled backward. Tears welled up again. You've really changed. You never used to be like this with me. That's right. I have changed, I said coldly. Because you used up every last bit of tenderness I had. She ran out crying. I collapsed onto the sofa and lit a cigarette. Mei Lin, you really continue to surprise me coming to plead for Kai so soon. I'd like to see if you can still be so devoted when he's completely ruined. The next day, the audit team entered Kai's company. Just as expected, they quickly found problems. Mr. Junwei, there are major issues with their accounts. The finance director reported, holding a document. Improper use of funds and several clearly fraudulent contracts. Oh, I raised an eyebrow. Tell me more. Take this RD contract, for example. He pointed to the report. It's for 20 million. But the project never actually existed. The money was transferred to a shell corporation. Do you have proof? It's all here. He handed me a file. We traced that shell company back to Kai's distant cousin. I smiled. Excellent. Reported to the police. But the finance director hesitated. Shouldn't we talk to them first? No need. I waved him off. Just proceed as required. That afternoon, Kai was taken away by the police. The news spread like wildfire, and his company stock plummeted instantly. I was in my office handling paperwork when Mei Lin suddenly burst in. Junwei, why would you do this? She screamed hysterically. I looked up at her. This is an office. Please mind your conduct, you bastard. She lunged at me, trying to hit me, but my assistant intercepted her. Get her out of here, I told my assistant. Junwei, you can't do this to him, she yelled, struggling. You knew he was planning to go abroad. I walked over to her. So just because he was planning to go abroad, that gives him the right to falsify accounts. To embezzle company funds? She froze. Falsify accounts? Eh? Looks like he didn't tell you, did he? I sneered. Did you think this was just me getting personal revenge? Sorry to disappoint you, but these are crimes he committed himself. She looked incredulous. Impossible. He wouldn't do something like that. There are no secrets that stay hidden forever, I said. Whatever he's done, the truth will come out. She collapsed onto the floor. No, it must be a misunderstanding. Misunderstanding? I crouched down and whispered in her ear. Why don't you go ask him at the police station? See if it's really a misunderstanding. She started trembling violently. Maylin, you really have excellent taste in men, I said sarcastically, calling head over heels for such a piece of scum. Shut up, she covered her ears. What? Don't want to hear it? I pressed on. Did you ever stop to think if he used that embezzled money to take you out for fancy dinners, to get hotel rooms? Stop it, she broke down, sobbing uncontrollably. I stood up, picked her out, and don't let her in here again. My assistant dragged her out. I walked to the window and lit a cigarette. Kai. Oh, Kai, this is your karma. As for Maylin, watching her break down like that, I felt a sudden, sharp sense of satisfaction. This was only the beginning. The scandal surrounding Kai. Updated media outlets scrambled to report that his company was suspected of massive fraud. As the largest shareholder, I immediately issued a statement, pledging full cooperation with the investigation and promising to cover investor losses overnight. I became a poster child for fighting financial fraud. Kai, meanwhile, was locked up in a detention center, awaiting trial. I heard his family was trying to pull strings, but the evidence was rock solid, leaving no room for maneuver. One day, I was relaxing at home when a doorbell suddenly rang. I opened it to find Kai's sister. Mr. Junwei, please, I'm begging you. Save my brother, she cried, dropping to her knees without another word. I frowned. Miss Kai, I can't help with this. I know you can. She sobbed. If you just say the word, you can get him out of this. I'm sorry. He took a step back. Everyone is equal before the law. You're just getting revenge, she yelled. Because of my brother and your wife. My expression darkened. Miss Kai, you'd better watch your words. Am I wrong? She sneered. You're just jealous, so you want to crush my brother. Enough. I cut her off. The evidence of what your brother did is all there. If you don't accept it, hire a lawyer and fight it in court, but don't come here harassing me. You bastard. She started to curse again. Carity, I yelled soon. Security guards dragged her away. As they hauled her off, she was still screaming. You'll get what's coming to you. I sneered and shut the door. Retribution? We'll see just who gets retribution. That evening I received a text message from Maylin. Please let Kai go, he didn't mean to. I replied immediately. Why don't you ask him if embezzling 20 million was unintentional? She went silent. After a long pause, another message arrived. He said he was set up. Yeah, I texted back. Then, why don't you ask him who set him up this time? She didn't reply again. I knew she must have asked him, but Kai wouldn't tell her the truth, that the 20 million was used to pay off his gambling debts over the years. He racked up huge debts at overseas casinos. To pay them back, he had resorted to cooking the books and embezzling funds. I had all the proof right here in my desk drawer, but I wouldn't reveal it. Let Maylin keep believing he was a victim. Eventually, she would realize exactly what kind of man she had fallen in love with. The next day, my assistant reported, Mr. Junwei, the court has set the trial date. When? Next Tuesday? I nodded. Good, tell the legal department to prepare. I will be testifying. About that. My assistant hesitated. What is it? Your wife came looking for me yesterday, he said cautiously. She said she wanted to see you. I sneered. See me for what? To plead for him again? He said she has something very important to tell you. I won't see her, I refused point blank. Tell her she has something to say. Have her lawyer talk to mine. The assistant nodded and turned to leave. Wait. I stopped him. How has she been lately? I heard she's been hospitalized. My hand froze. What happened? It seems like exhaustion, combined with emotional distress. She fainted. I was silent for a moment. Understood, you can go. After the assistant left, I sat, staring blankly into space truthfully. Hearing she was in the hospital left a knot in my stomach. We had been together for so many years. The feelings hadn't been fake. Kay took out my phone and opened my contacts. Her number was still the first one listed. The profile picture was one of us from our trip to Sanya. She was leaning against my shoulder. Her smile so sweet. I locked my phone. Maylin, why did you have to reduce yourself to this state? If you hadn't betrayed me, we could have grown old together. To bed. There's no going back now. The day the trial began, the courtroom was packed with reporters. Kai's case had caused such a stir that the media's attention was intense. I sat in the witness stand watching him stand in the defendant's dock. His face haggard. The judge asked me, Mr. Junwei, as a major shareholder of the company, when did you first discover the irregularities? During a routine audit, I replied calmly. We found forged contracts and evidence of embezzled company funds. Can you be certain Kai was responsible for these actions? His signature is on the documents and there are transfer records, I said. Furthermore, the shell company involved was registered to one of his relatives. Kai suddenly stood up. Junwei, you know, that's not the truth. A bailiff immediately restrained him. The defendant will remain silent. The judge ordered, hanging his gavel. I looked at Kai, my voice still level. I am merely stating the facts. As for everything else, the court will make its own judgment. He glared at me, his eyes filled with resentment. But I knew it wasn't my exposing his crimes that he hated. He hated me for destroying his future with Maylin. The trial lasted the entire day. The evidence was conclusive. Kai had almost no chance of overturning the verdict. In the end, he was sentenced to 10 years in prison. As I walked out the courthouse, a swarm of reporters surrounded me. Mr. Junwei, do you feel the verdict is fair? The law enters its own judgment. I said, our company will continue to cooperate with the investigation and ensure accountability to our investors. We heard your relationship with Kai was rather unusual. Another reporter asked. I chuckled softly. Business is war. There are no unusual relationships. Just as I was about to get into my Kai, I heard someone shout, Junwei. I turned around. It was Maylin. Her face was pale and she looked much thinner. The reporters instantly turned their cameras towards her. Madame, are you here for the trial? Someone asked. She ignored the reporters staring straight at me. Are you satisfied now? I frowned. This isn't the place to talk. Why not? She sneered. Afraid people will find out the truth? The reporter's interest peaked. What truth? Enough. I grabbed her wrist and pulled her into the car. The driver immediately started the engine. What the hell are you doing? I released her. Trying to make headlines? I'm going crazy, she sobbed, covering her face. Seeing how you treated Kai, I really am going crazy. Ha. So you really do care about him, I said mockingly. Out of the hospital already? Junwei, you've changed. She lifted her head, her eyes brimming with tears. You weren't like this before. That's right. I have changed, I said coldly. Haven't you always wanted to know why I went after Kai? Fine. I'll tell you now. She froze. I took a file from my bag. See for yourself. She took it, her hands trembling. It contained records of Kai's activities in overseas casinos, losing money, borrowing heavily, threats of violence, one incident after another. Is this real? She couldn't believe it. Do you think I'd use fakes to trick you? She flipped to the last page, which showed an IOU signed by Kai for a full $50 million. So the company money he took was to pay off his gambling debts. I finished for her. Why else do you think he was in such a hurry to go abroad? He wanted to flee his creditors. She slumped in the seat, completely stunned. That precious idol of yours is nothing but a scumbag. I sneered. Do you understand now? Impossible, she murmured. He's not that kind of person. Then what kind of person is he? I retorted. Devoted and faithful, loyal and righteous? She couldn't speak. Maylin, you're a smart woman. I looked at her. All those years he spent abroad, he wasn't starting a business. He was racking up debt in casinos. Stop it, she covered her ears. After returning, he wanted to make a comeback. But it's not that easy, is it? I continued relentlessly. So he had to embezzle funds, and you were just his backup plan. I don't believe you, she screamed. He told me he loved me. Huh? Of course he'd say he loved you, I scoffed, because he knew you had a rich husband if his schemes were ever exposed. Maybe he thought he could rely on you to plead his case. She trembled all over. You're lying. Am I? I gave a cold laugh. Then go ask him. Ask him why he was so desperate to take you away. Why he insisted on seeing you right before he planned to leave the country. She finally broke down, crying loudly. Driver, pull over. I said. The car stopped by the roadside. I opened the door. Get out. Junwei. She looked up at me, her eyes filled with despair. Go home and think carefully, I said. Think about what kind of person your precious idol really is. Watching her tumble out of the car, I felt nothing. This is your karma, Maylin. You destroyed our marriage for a piece of trash. Now, finally, you know the truth. After Kai was imprisoned, his company quickly went bankrupt. I transferred all the valuable patents and technology to my own company. As for the other debts, I left them for the creditors to deal with one day. While I was in my office handling paperwork, my mother paid me a sudden visit. Junwei, how have you been lately? She asked caringly. I'm doing fine. I smiled. What brings you here so suddenly, Mom? Why else? She sighed. It's about you and Maylin, of course. My expression darkened. Mom, there's nothing to discuss. Try to calm down, she urged. Maylin is in the hospital. I hear she's not doing well. What's it got to do with me? But you two were married. Mom, I cut her off. Just stay out of it. I know what I'm doing. She looked like she wanted to say more, but seeing my firm stance, she dropped it. You child, why are you so stubborn? She said resignedly. Fine, I'd handle it your own way. After seeing my mother out, I leaned back in my chair and lit a cigarette. Honestly, I've been exhausted lately. Even though the revenge had gone smoothly, I couldn't shake this feeling of emptiness inside. And I got home that evening. Someone was standing at my door. It was Mei Lin's best friend. Junwei, I need to talk to you, she said, getting straight to the point. Go ahead. Maylin really knows she was wrong, she said. Can't you forgive her? I sneered. Here to play peacemaker again. Do you know she cries her eyes out every day? She said urgently. The doctor says if this goes on, she could become clinically depressed. You are married, for goodness sake, she said. And I know you still love her deep down. Yeah? And how would you know that? Because if you didn't love her, you wouldn't be this angry, she said, seriously. You wouldn't have gone to such lengths to get revenge on Kai. I felt silent. She had a point. If I truly didn't care, why would I have gone to all this trouble? Just give her one more chance, she pleaded. I promise she'll never make the same mistake again. I took a deep breath. Go back and tell her the divorce is non-negotiable. You're so stubborn. She stomped her foot in frustration. Why are you being so stubborn? Because some things, once done, Can't be undone, I said calmly. It's like a shattered mirror. Even if you piece it back together, the cracks will always be there. She looked like she wanted to argue, but seeing my resolve, she could only leave. I stood at the window, watching her figure fade into the distance suddenly. I remembered Maylin calling me stubborn a long time ago. We hadn't known each other long then, and we were arguing over something trivial. She pouted and said, "Why are you so stubborn?" I laughed and said, "Because when I set my mind on something, I see it through to the end." "So, have you set your mind on me?" she'd asked slyly. "Of course," I'd said, stroking her hair. "I have, and that will never change. Too bad you were the one whose heart changed in the end." I pulled out my phone and saw a missed call from the hospital. I called back. Nurse answered. "Mr. John Way, your wife fainted again today. The doctor says her condition isn't good and we need a family member's signature." I paused for a moment. "To have her parents sign, but we're not married anymore," I cut her off. "Don't call me about things like this again." After hanging up, I sent a message to my assistant. "Go check on Maylin at the hospital, cover any expenses. But don't mention it came from me." My assistant replied shortly after, "Understood, but Mr. Junway, perhaps you should go see her yourself?" "No," I replied. "Leave it." Putting down my phone, I walked out onto the balcony. A light rain was falling through the night air. I suddenly remembered how terrified she was of thunder whenever it stormed. She'd burrow into my arms. I gently stroked her back until she fell asleep. Thinking back now, those moments felt like they belonged to another lifetime. Maylin, oh, Maylin, what exactly were we in the end? A week later, I received the summons from the court. It was for divorce proceedings. It seems Maylin had finally made up her mind. On the day of the hearing, she wore a black suit. She had lost a lot of weight, and her face was frighteningly pale. The judge asked, "Are both parties certain about the divorce?" "Certain," I said. Maylin kept her head down and murmured a soft yes. "And regarding the division of assets, do you have any objections?" "I agree with this proposed division," she said, her voice barely a whisper. Soon enough, the divorce agreement was signed. As we walked out of the courthouse, she suddenly called out to me, "Junway, is there something else?" "I'm sorry," she said. "I'm truly sorry." I looked at her. "There's no need for that. I know you hate me." She gave a bitter smile. "Hate myself too? Whatever," I said, turning to leave. "Hate?" She took an envelope from her bag. "This is for you." "What is it?" "It's a letter I wrote," she said. "You can just throw it away after you read it." With that, she turned and walked away. Watching her retreating figure, I suddenly realized that the bright, vibrant girl she once was had completely vanished. Back home, I opened the envelope. Inside was a sheet of paper covered in her familiar handwriting. "Junway, by the time you read this, we are no longer husband and wife. These past few days, I've kept thinking, how did things end up like this? Perhaps I was too greedy, trying to cling to shadows of the past, or perhaps I was too selfish, betraying your genuine affection. I know everything about the situation with Kai. He really wasn't a good person, and I was truly deceived. But that's no excuse for my betrayal. I was the one in the wrong. I betrayed our marriage lately. I often dream of our days together. Every little kindness you showed me is still vivid in my memory, but I destroyed it all with my own hands, Junway. I'm sorry. I know saying sorry is meaningless now, but I still have to say it. I'm sorry for betraying your trust. I'm sorry for hurting you. I'm sorry for ruining our marriage. I wish you happiness. May you never meet someone like me again. Maylin. After reading the letter, I crumpled it into a ball and threw it in the trash. Then I lit a cigarette and smoked it in silence. The next day my assistant rushed in. "Mr. Junway, your wife, no, Ms. Maylin, has been hospitalized." "What happened?" It seems she overdosed on sleeping pills, he said. But they managed to save her. I was silent for a moment. I see. Aren't you going to see her? No. I said, help me arrange something. I need to go on a business trip for a while. Where to? U.S. I said, there's a project discussion coming up. I need to handle it personally. In reality, there was no project. I just wanted to get away for a while, away from this suffocating city, away from all these painful memories before leaving. I received a text message. It was from Maylin's best friend. Mail-in wants to see you one last time. I deleted it immediately. Some things once you say goodbye, it's really goodbye as the plane took off. I stared out the window at the white clouds. I suddenly remembered how she always loved the window seat on every business trip. She would nestle against my shoulder. Then she'd point out the window and say, "Look, honey, we're flying higher than the clouds." Thinking back now, those moments feel like they belong to another lifetime. Goodbye. Mail in goodbye, my past.